The 4th of July is just a couple of days away, and if you hadn't heard already, a rather large parade is held in Lebanon. The holiday festivities are so numerous, the fun begins in June. A couple of hardworking organizers, Michael Reynolds and Debbie Ottinger, join us for episode 171. A lot of effort goes into putting it all together, and the pair shares why it's a willing labor of love for this committee. Episode 171 of the Love in Lebanon podcast starts now.
Welcome to the Love in Lebanon podcast, highlighting all the great things happening in Lebanon, Indiana. Have an idea for an episode? Send an email to loveinlebanon@lebanon.in.gov.
Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 171 of the Love in Lebanon podcast. We are recording on the first day of July 1st, 2024. And if you hadn't heard already, there's kind of a big holiday coming up within Boone County. It's so big, the 4th of July festivities, that those festivities begin in the month of June. So to help us kind of get us geared up for the 4th and kind of recap some of the great things that go into planning this event, we've got Michael Reynolds and we've got Debbie Ottinger here on the podcast. Guys, thanks for being here. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us.
We appreciate you taking the time to get this information out to our community.
Speaking of taking the time, you guys are just kind of like hamsters on a wheel, kind of running around from this place to that place. So I'm thankful that you guys are able to take that time to be able to sit down for a few moments here to kind of talk about what goes into the whole process. How Debbie, is your busyness, your stress level as we chat here, airing on the 2nd, but here recording on the 1st?
Well, we are very fortunate that we basically kind of have two committees. We have the executive committee, which is John Messenger, Carol Cunningham, and myself. We make sure all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, legal and technical issues are dealt with, and any problems that come along. Michael and the events committee make sure that everything that is scheduled goes as planned. We are kind of the umbrella for some of the events. We don't individually do the baby contests and we don't do the dinners, but they fall under our umbrella, so we help organize those also. But physically, our events committee are running around like chickens with their head off, but they are the most organized and their hearts are in it, and it really works well. And
Michael, do you juggle as a hobby or just with events like this where it's bowling pins or it's knives in the air and things like that?
Yeah.
Juggling a lot of things during this event in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best part about it is we've got a team here. We've got 9 people who all work together here. And to kind of give you some background here, we actually start the planning in February. And so we meet, once a month, and then a little bit more often as we get closer to the summer here. And but we split up into different subcommittees. So we kind of delegate the work, and each subcommittee is responsible for some different things. And so, for example, here we have within our committee, we have an events committee led by Amanda Fogel, and Jocelyn Taylor is on that as well. And so those two, work on the events taking place like at the bandstand. So the concert the night before the 4th, they plan that out, the talent show, the cornhole tournament, the praise and worship night. They plan those activities there. And then we've got the Anything Goes committee led by Lisa Robinson and Josh Hawks, and as well as Kevin Van Horn is on that committee as well. And so those three plan out the Almost Anything Goes contest. And we've got 3 different age groups that take place on 2 different nights. So the adults get their own competition there, and then high school age students and then middle school age students each have their competitions as well with that. And then our third subcommittee is the parade committee, led by Kristen Linton, and joined with her is Heather Burtner and Brandy Moss. And so they obviously take care of the parade, which is no small undertaking here. So in our planning, each subcommittee is responsible for their piece there of what they need to accomplish. And then come June, we all come together as one committee. We all work together, and then of course during the execution on the day of or the night of, the entire committee's there. The entire committee's working together, and so forth. So even though it might seem like we're running around, and physically we probably are running around like the other night when we're running from the shelter house to the bandstand and back and forth with that, but more or less I'll say we're pretty calm with what we're doing, just because we're prepared, and when you're prepared, the execution goes off a lot better.
And as is the case with any board, there's roll off. People decide they have other obligations and things like that. But for the most part, it seems like as people come and go, they're the stalwarts that kind of keep that baton and carry it throughout years and years and years. Is it like a well-oiled machine now that if a few folks decide to do something else with their lives, you're able to grab other teammates and bring them alongside as far as, being able to have those events and having people play specific roles within them. Good to have that kind of well-oiled machine to kind of go through, and you're not reinventing the wheel every year. It's just kind of picking up and another year and here we go again, that type of thing.
Yeah, Joe, you said that really well, and that's our goal as leaders here to have that well-oiled machine, and to keep that going there. And so from last year's committee, one member rolled off. And so we have one new member this year. That's Brandy Moss. She's been excellent, and she does so many things in the community anyway. So this is seems like I won't say an easy step, but a step that she can take and handle really well. Which on our end as leaders here, with 8 of the 9 people back for their second, third, and some even more, that it just seemed a lot easier this year because there wasn't as much teaching going on that we need to do this and that. It was okay. Here's our checklist. We know what we're doing, and let's go do it.
And as a few more years in that category, Debbie, you've been with the 4th of July committee and been on that exec for a few years now. You and Carol and John, what is it about this event that keeps you guys coming back? Because usually you either sprint away from stress or you run into that kind of storm, that storm that you're choosing to be a part of. But what is it about this event throughout our community as a whole that keeps you guys coming back to be part of this thing?
We just want our community to have this event every year. We feel that it's important. It's 4th of July. It's patriotic. After with what our country's been through, COVID just wiped everything out. We are now back, I think, full force. And that gave a lot of us the mindset that this is very important. We are all integrated into our community. We've lived here. Our children have been involved. Our grandchildren now, for some of us who are very young grandparents, have been, are involved. And this is just a tradition that we do not want to die out, and we're willing to work and do that. And all 3 of us had served just on the events, it was just an events committee for a long time. And then we realized that there were some concerns because some of the legal things were getting dropped and some of the iconic things were, kind of going to the wayside. So we did not want to lose that. So several years ago, Huck Lewis kind of appointed us as a committee, and then, had stepped out now, and we're on our own now. But we just decided we thought we'd do it a couple of years, but it means so much to us. We would like for that to continue, that continuity, and then we'll be training. But with the events committee, we do replace people, but we don't try to replace everybody at one time. And so, people send their applications in, and we keep everything. I will let everyone know we always do a background check. We know that individuals are involved with children and youth, and so we want to make sure everyone is safe. So we always make sure that is going on. And again, these are people who know what this event is about, so they want to be a part of it. So the learning cycle is great for them because they've already seen it. They just need to learn how to execute it.
And you guys are legacy Lebanon folks. I'm a self-proclaimed transplant. My family and I, we didn't grow up in Lebanon. I remember coming down and playing in the Gus Macker basketball, but and Rick Mount. Those were the things that growing up in the metropolis of Delphi, those were the things, knowing about Lebanon. So being here, going to our first 4th of July, festivities now a decade ago, it was mind-blowing to see that sense of community and just that camaraderie that you're talking about, Debbie, not wanting that to die out. In your jobs, respectively, working for the county and also, Michael, working for the school corporation, are these types of events that encapsulate our community with the 4th, are these kind of those selling points with the community that you come in contact with throughout the school year where families are choosing Lebanon, or it's one of those things they're hanging their hat on, whether they're countywide or in the corporation, Michael, where you're seeing people that are touting what this whole 4th of July and the festivities that come along with it entail?
Absolutely, it is. And, from the school in general, we'd have a lot, especially in the summertime, a lot of families come in to tour the building and ask a lot of questions about the school and about the community and so forth. And one thing that we've always prided ourselves on at the high school is being a community school. We're here for the community and with the community. We don't feel like at all to separate the 2 of us at all with that. And however, with the high school specifically, we always pride ourselves on our traditions. And one of those is a community tradition with, the 4th of July and the events. And we always say that nobody does the 4th of July like Boone County does with our week-long events here. And so it is a big talking point, and it's something, students are excited about, when they leave for summer break, and they know that they're not going to go all summer without seeing each other. A lot of times you'll hear, oh, I'll see you at the parade, or I'll see you at the Anything Goes contest, and so forth. And so from students to parents to community members, it's a big deal, and it's talked about a lot.
And it's got to make you both feel good to know that vacations kind of summer vacations circle around the parade. All the reunions. Yes, exactly. Everyone's coming back home for this particular event. That's got to make you feel good that the foundation has continued to be built upon year after year with this event. And it shows no signs of slowing down, just the opposite, actually.
I think that you're right on that. And it's easy. You don't have to worry about getting snowed out. Your plane is going to get here regardless. My husband's 3 sisters live out of the state, and when they come back, it's always 4th of July that they come back for. And you said we had our class reunion the 7th of July last year. It's just easier to deal with, and most people have their whole vacation, so they're here a week. Our Conventions and Visitors Bureau always talks about heads to a pillow. Yeah. We bring in I believe we bring in the largest number of visitors. Now, a lot of times, some of them may stay with family, but when you're bringing in your entire family, they've got to have somewhere to sleep.
You might need groceries too.
Thank you.
Might go out
exactly. The restaurants. Mm-hmm. So we feel like that this is something they still want to see. One of a family member I know, they decided they couldn't come home, so they tried to do like a little parade, like the decorating, and they did it, and they're like, "This did not work out at all. You guys have it down." I mean, so it's we just appreciate the fact that they want to be back here. We want them back here, and it just keeps reinforcing in us that we need it to continue. We need to keep working on it. We've got good things going on, and people really do enjoy it. Things have changed a little bit, but again, we just keep trying to recreate it. And with traditional stuff and new stuff, and what works, we keep. What doesn't work, we can find something else to replace it.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that, everybody, before we hit record. We've got Debbie Ottinger. She's on the executive committee, and also Michael Reynolds. He's on the event committee, but he kind of has a foot in both camps, so to speak. We're talking about Boone County 4th of July planning. We say it's so large that the 4th of July planning, and it happens in February, but the event itself happens in June. It's that large, everybody, here on the podcast. Now, before we hit record, everybody, we were talking about the fact that not only with those events, you want to be able to have it culminate with the fireworks show, and obviously that's what the plan is for the 4th. But Debbie, you were talking about the importance of having something for everybody. So if it's you're celebrating the babies, the cute little babies, to incorporating the talents of various folks throughout our community and beyond. It seems like there's something for everybody. That's by design. You guys are choosing to be able to say you don't have a reason not to take part in something 4th of July related.
Absolutely. You would be surprised how many people come back to the Anything Goes and have nobody in it. They just want to come and watch it. They just think it's the greatest.
Something crazy's going to happen.
It is. And the older the people are that are in it, the funnier it is. I'm just saying. And then, we have our praise and worship service on Sunday night before the 4th, and that just occurred last night. And that's for anyone in the community. And we have a good turnout for that. It was packed. And it's, our faith is still strong. This is what we believe. And so that brings in young and old alike, different churches. You might get to see somebody that goes to a different church that is a wonderful singer. They're up on stage, and you didn't realize how great they were. And we've got the baby contest. We have, we had the pedal parade Saturday. We took it indoors, and that was Sylvia sponsored that. And so that was, for younger kids. But when you've got the younger kids there, you've got the middle-aged, the parents, the grandparents all showing up. So again, this is and the parade, I do just want to say this about the parade. We believe we have between 10, 15,000 people. If you're in the parade, when you round that corner, I'm not kidding you a bit, your heart just it's amazing. It just swells up because it's shoulder to shoulder all the way down Park Drive. Or Euland Drive, all the way down Meridian Street, all the way down East Street, shoulder to shoulder. And people, will call your name, or if they don't know you, they'll still clap. We have floats. We have, veterans in there. We try to honor our veterans every year. And it's just, I know I sound like I'm going on, but I just think that we are so blessed to be able to be a part of it. but also to have this in the community. And when somebody's like, I've been to the parade every year for the last 15 years, they have been. Yeah. And we all know that the challenges at the park where they start putting their blanket out in February. They start
marking their territory,
yeah.
Michael?
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have seen, differences of opinion and marking of that territory.
Yes, we have.
And some close talking and all those things. But it's true. I mean, what is it like for you guys when you see it's almost like an explosion of people, because you see, like you mentioned and said perfectly, Debbie, where you're rounding that corner and all of a sudden it's just red, white, and blue. It is festive. It is packed. It is, it's gobsmacking to be able to just kind of turn that corner and see everybody. Does that ever get old?
Never. Every single time. It is so cool. It is so cool to see that. And even just, a few days ago, the band, the Lebanon band was out on the street practicing and so forth. And just hearing that and seeing that, it gets you so excited.
What other memories do you guys have from parades or from events? Debbie, you talked about almost anything goes, and just kind of the tomfoolery. It always pops up in my Facebook events and things like that from past posts, and there it is. Seeing the kids growing up, participating in almost anything goes, and many memories you guys have with the event that kind of stick out, kind of putting you on the spot a little bit here. But
the anything goes. I was in the anything goes. I was in the adult anything goes. And then now it's funny because there was a team that wanted to get in, the adults, and they were packed, but these guys won the teen anything goes, several years ago. And so what I just think is great, it's like, they're not too old, according to them. And and so, but I just think, again, you're looking at that tradition. However, you think, well, once you've done it, you're done. They're not done. And they want to be a part of it. And when I told them we were already, filled with the adults, they were genuinely disappointed. But we reach a point where you just have to have a line drawn where only this many people can participate. Parade, we've not really had to put a number on that yet, but that may come. Just
how many floats we talking? It's well over 100.
Yeah, well over 100. Okay. And as of right now, from filming this here, we're at nearly 120 entries in total. So
Debbie, giving the hand
signals.
Thank
you. I just talked to Kristen just a little bit ago on a different thing, and she said they were up to 124, and that's the most that they've had. Yeah.
Yes. That's the largest ever?
I think she thinks it is. Or that she's dealt with.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would say in the last 10 years or so, for sure.
And what does that mean to be able to have, we talked about earlier, everybody, as you heard, that this shows no signs of slowing down. If we're at 124 and keeping on creeping up north, that's incredible to talk about the longevity of something as large as the 4th of July parade.
And how important it is to people. And we may have to draw a line at some point just for safety issues, because we literally have people coming back from the beginning of the parade before anyone, before half of them have even, stepped off yet. And so the committee is the last one. So when you see them, it's truly over. Sometimes we have gaps and you think it's done. It's like, no, they're at the IGA. They're on their way. And you'll see me flying down the street, trying to hurry things up. But, our committee, they stay in that parking lot. They make sure everybody's out in line. You have to have everything numbered. What they do, and then the whole committee's there. They're making sure that they're helping get people placed, and making sure that if you show up and you're not registered, if sometimes you can go to the end, sometimes you can't. So when you see them coming through on the golf cart, it's wonderful because they love it. They deserve every applaud they get, and they finally get to sit down for a few minutes that day. And it's phenomenal.
What's that exhale like, Michael, as you guys are taking that victory lap quite literally along the parade route? What's it like being able to just kind of, we did it. Another year we did it. This is the culmination of hard work, determination, and teamwork.
Oh, it's such a great feeling. It truly is. And to hear people clapping for you and so forth and saying thank you, it's very fulfilling and very rewarding for all the time and effort that we put into it. And I'd also say, too, that we get that same feeling at the end of the fireworks,
Gotcha.
where you can hear, I don't know from where, but you can hear the cheers from everywhere. And so that's that culminating, true feeling that you can, take a deep breath that we've completed another season of 4th of July activities.
You're listening to episode 171 of the Love and Lebanon podcast. We've got Michael Reynolds and Debbie Ottinger, two of the many team members who put together this thing, and we enjoy it year after year and appreciate their hard work, determination, and willingness to keep on doing it. Not an easy task for sure. as we kind of get ready towards the end of our podcast here, and Michael, not to put you on the spot, but if we can talk about the parade marshal for this year and be able to kind of, we want to be able to recognize some folks who've really been ingrained in our community, just like the 4th of July parade, but also the parade marshal this year. What went into the selection process, and you've got to have some special feelings for the folks that are going to be kicking this thing off this year.
Yeah, an exciting time for anybody to be in the parade marshal. You know, the Burtners did a great job last year, and the torch has been passed this year to the ladies from Pixie Playhouse. So Vicki Reynolds, Becky Albano Miller, and Rhea Albano are the three parade marshals this year who are right together there. And so what the committee did, what we do when we start meeting back in February is actually the March meeting when we voted on this. Everybody came with nominations with that, and then just for complete transparency here, once I heard family members of mine were nominated, I stepped away from that and said I'm not endorsing them at all in anything, and actually nominated somebody else and voted for somebody else with that. And so just to make that perfectly clear, but it was unanimous with everybody else. And so then what we did is we went out to we kind of conceived a plan to get the three ladies together during the day on one day, and
they lied to him. That's to say.
Yeah,
they lied to him.
We did.
People will see on the graphic, everybody, the picture you see is one that we took in courtesy the Lebanon Reporter for that image, but you guys were able to kind of give them a sneak attack and be able to.
Yeah, and we surprised them with the banner and letting them know that they've been selected as parade marshals for this year's parade.
And appreciate the transparency and you abstaining, but you've got to feel proud though to have some stake in that and to know that Pixie Playhouse, I mean, for decades, it was one of those things that, friends that we made, people that we knew, everyone has a tie to Pixie Playhouse.
Absolutely. Yes. And then when we made the announcement on our 4th of July Facebook post, the number of likes and the comments, the positive comments, it was so exciting. Yeah, it was so exciting to see. So I'm proud of all three of them, obviously personally, and then what they've done for our community and what they'll continue to do for our community. They've got a lot left for them, and I know they're going to work hard and do a lot of good.
And a slam dunk from exec to say absolutely that this is who it needs to be.
It comes to us they usually make suggestions and send to us. They only sent us that name, and we had no trouble at all because of who they are and what they represent. And you talk about, being a part of the community. They've always been here and they're everywhere. And just, you couldn't pick three more kind-hearted, loving people. And there was no questions asked. And Michael's like, I said, I don't care who you voted for. They're in. So it's like, and so, but and they're so humble and they just are in awe that they would even be thought of. So we do really appreciate that.
But as far as teammates go, you talked about being able to honor the parade marshal for this year, but it takes a village, and in this case, it takes an army. Can you guys kind of talk about some of those fellow members and sponsors and committees that have helped really bring this thing to fruition for 24?
Well, one of the things that we were a part of, and Steve Day at one time was on the executive committee also, and we just knew that we needed to find some funding, stable funding that would occur, year after year. And we've always sent letters out, and that was great. But just again, you have to adjust to what is in front of you. Yeah. So we thought, this is our hometown. Why don't we approach our hometown banks to see if they would be interested in a continuing year after year sponsorship? And we, in exchange, offered them, we get golf carts for them with their advertising on it up front so that everybody knows who they are. Every event, we have our banners. We want to give them full credit. And that's the Farmers Bank, Home National Bank, North Salem State Bank, and State Bank. Used to be State Bank of Liston. Now it's State Bank. And every year we just bring our letter to them, and they're just so gracious and so kind. They all give the same amount of money. There's never any question. And then a couple of years ago, we thought of needing some additional help for fireworks and approached the Food and Beverage Committee with the Lebanon City Council. And that has been no questions. I mean, they've been more than kind. We answered every question they had, every concern they had, and they are major. The city is a major sponsor, and we're so grateful because, again, those making that decision are part of our community. They live here, and they want this tradition to continue. We just can't beat that. And one more, because he's Mr. Humble, our Parks Department and John Messenger is phenomenal. Everything occurs out there other than the parade. Yeah. The carnival. He made sure we lost the carnival we had because they wanted to go to a bigger group. He did some searching. People gave him information. He went to every carnival that was available, looked at them, and how they
vetted
conducted
them too,
business.
didn't
Yes.
you? Yeah.
And the one we have now, they're wonderful to work with. They're good for our community. They give us money so that we can have our fireworks and our events also. But John Messenger I'm so grateful he's on the committee, but what he does for our Parks Department is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the committee members also, Michael. There are people that are we didn't mention earlier that have given their time and their talent and a lot of their skill set to be able to help make this happen as well.
Yeah, they really do. They're terrific people. They're giving back their time and their abilities here to the community, and it's so exciting to be together. And we're together so much, during this week of events and so forth. And then, all of a sudden it's like, sporting team. If you lose in a tournament, bam, it's done. It's over. You don't see each other again. And so we get that feeling as well. Unfortunately, at the end, but that means that we've done a good job, leading up to that point, and we work well together, communicate well together, and have fun, together as well, with that. So it's really exciting to have a great group of people.
Absolutely. And we're hoping for clear skies, and you guys, obviously you can't forecast that during the course of the June into July events. And a couple different things. Debbie, you mentioned the pedal parade had to go indoors this year because of weather. And then Michael, the community band and also the high school band had to kind of think on the fly a little bit with their fundraising due to Mother Nature. She always wins. The 4th is coming up, everybody, and we see some clouds potentially in our forecast. Some weather might be a little dicey. If you guys don't mind highlighting us in the event of rain only, parade is a go. It is what it is.
Correct.
It's a soggy one.
Yes.
Thunder and lightning, that's a
Thunder and
different story.
lightning is a whole different story.
Okay.
Or if we see that coming in, safety will be first.
I was
As
gonna say, yep.
disappointing as it is, and everybody's like, oh, it's not a big deal. Lightning, if you see it, it's too close.
Mm-hmm.
If you hear the thunder, it's on its way. But we'll be working with our police department, with our EMAs, anyone, we will be seeking input on that. As far as that's concerned, our goal is not to do it, to have an event, no matter what. Our goal is to make sure that no one is harmed and everyone is safe. And even if it's raining, it's one thing. Torrential downpour, we don't want people slipping and sliding or, a car not being able to stop even very slowly. So those are things that we look at. If the parade would get rained out, and we do not expect that at any level, we refuse to acknowledge it at this point.
Rabbit's feet, everybody.
Yeah.
We're knocking
Thank
on wood,
you.
all
Yes,
that,
say a
fingers
prayer.
crossed. All that stuff.
And then we would not reschedule that for another day. There's too many factors
for sure.
that would factor into that. Fireworks, if it is rained out on 4th of July night, then it would be the next day, because it's a Friday. That would be Friday evening.
Mm-hmm.
We would just go at that point in time, same location, but that's when we would have it.
Okay. And then keeping everybody abreast of what's going on, the social media pages, the Facebook page for the Boone County 4th of July, is that the best place to get everybody to go to and like and follow and all those things?
Yeah, that'd be a great place there. So Boone County 4th of July, just search for that on Facebook if you don't already follow that. And then along with that,
the sparklers, that's the
right.
main image right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then 91.1 FM Radio Mom. Okay. We'll stay abreast there with that. And then there's some other Twitter feeds. I know, like the Lebanon Reporter has been doing a terrific job covering our events, and they'll help spread the word as well.
As will the city. Debbie, Michael, thank you so much for being here on the podcast. Best of luck, and a big thank you to not only you guys, but of course all the folks that you work with to help make this happen. And we appreciate you being on the podcast to kind of let us behind the scenes to what goes into this whole thing.
We want to tell you how much we appreciate you doing the podcast. You're so informative, and you're so good about making sure information gets out. And this is so important to us, and we just thank you for taking the time to talk with us.
I appreciate that.
Thank you,
Michael. Thanks. And thank you, everybody, for listening to episode 171 of the Love and Lebanon podcast. More episodes are coming your way. Take care.